Like many of my viewers, I'm an avid fly angler and waterfowl hunter. And this means that I spend a lot of time in waders every year. When you get past the sponsored influencers, paid reviews, and people who are just flat out full of shit, you'll seriously wonder if anyone is ever going to make a pair of breathable waders that won't leak before their time. You came to my channel for no bullshit, thought-provoking content without sponsorship, free product reviews, or brand loyalty. And on that premise, I intend to deliver the goods in this video. I'm disabling the comments in this video so the homers and keyboard commandos can't post bullshit like, my waders have lasted me for 20 years, or I'm a guide and my $100 Amazon waders have lasted me 10 seasons. So I'm keeping the cats outside right now so I don't have to clean the litter box. So sit back and relax as I explore the current state of breathable wader technology. My great-grandfather wore those hard rubber hip waders, and I can only imagine how crappy those were for a whole day walking a mountain river. My grandpa wore rubber chest waders that were as stiff as plywood, had grossly oversized boots that caused blisters, and those things would just fill up with sweat. Those things rarely leaked until the rubber started to break down on them, but they were so uncomfortable and sweaty that they were almost unbearable. My first set of waders were nasty, sweaty neoprene waders that made me look like Peter Pan in tights. You know, they had boot feet that would slip all over the rocks and all over the riverbanks. And they were so heavy and clunky that I was exhausted after a 1-mile hike. By the mid-1990s, Simms, together with Gore-Tex, finally figured out how to make a breathable Gore-Tex stocking foot wader that didn't leak. I bought my first set of Simms breathable stocking foot waders in about 1997, and I've never went back to neoprene since then. Once you go to breathable waders for hunting and fishing, you'll never go back to neoprene. For me, breathable waders are a must. And even in colder weather, I'll just layer up properly with wool underneath my waders. And, you know, even when I layer up to stay warm in the winter, clean breathable waders still remain sweat-free and they still breathe. When I'm duck hunting, you know, boot foot waders are perfectly fine and are a better option when you're wading around in a really muddy, mucky marsh. But I prefer stocking foot waders for fly fishing because the shoes or wading boots that you use with them are a lot better for walking around on slick rocks, and wading boots are much more comfortable when you're walking for miles upstream. You know, many people think those two favorable design elements, breathable material and stocking feet, are actually what causes these waders to leak prematurely. In the next chapter, we'll explore that theory in a little bit more detail. The fabric panels and feet of breathable waders are held together by welded or glued seams. You know, a tiny wrinkle during the assembly of these seams or small manufacturing error will cause these seams to leak. Usually when a pair of waders starts leaking right out of the box, it's a bad seam. But, you know, sometimes your seams will fail at a later date too. I've had premium Simms and Patagonia waders leak from the seams right out of the box, brand new. When a seam is bad, it's time to send your waders back to the manufacturer for a proper repair. If it's out of warranty, most people just buy new waders at that point. Next, let's talk about punctures or pinhole leaks in your waders. Gore-Tex is an abrasion resistant material, but that doesn't mean that it isn't susceptible to punctures and tears. In fact, sharp objects will puncture these waders quite easily. As fly fishermen, we're constantly casting sharp hooks, attaching sharp hooks to ourselves while we change flies, and walking along riverbanks with lots of thorny plants. And these things make holes in breathable waders. Another common issue with breathable waders is that they lose their ability to remain waterproof. Sometimes these leaks are wear related, and other times the construction of the waders just wasn't up to par. The ugly truth about waterproof breathable fabrics is that they're usually sandwiched under an outer layer that is only water resistant. They depend on a surface treatment known as DWR, or durable waterproof repellent, and that's sprayed on the surface of the material. Over time, from sitting on things or from friction from walking, this DWR coating will wear, and that often results in moisture penetrating the surface layer and absorbing through the stitching on the fabric layers underneath that surface layer, and moisture can enter the inside of the wader as a result of that. And this failure is often seen in high wear areas like in the crotch or the butt or the knees in particular. Some waders are just horrible when the DWR surface treatment wears off. And if you apply water to your waders, just dump some water on it, and it soaks into the fabric rather than beating up on top of it, you probably need to clean your waders and refresh the DWR surface treatment on them. In the past, paying more for waders usually meant that you weren't going to experience leaking issues. In the past, American-made Sims waders were the gold standard when it came to breathable waders. They used licensed Gore-Tex fabric and seam tape, and the waders were assembled using Gore-Tex approved production methods. An expensive set of Sims waders were pretty much far superior to anything made at the time. But Sims quality started slipping. Their waders developed leak issues, quality issues, and many anglers ran to Orvis or Patagonia for relief. As Orvis and Patagonia started gaining market share, they increased profits by contracting factories in China that also made cheap waders to make their high dollar waders. So now the expensive Sims, Orvis, and Patagonia waders will end up leaking prematurely, just like a set of budget waders will. These days, you're spending the extra money on premium waders just for cool features like zippers, exact sizing, or cool suspenders. You're not paying the extra money for leak-free ownership anymore. They will all leak. So I apologize to all of you fanboys and brand loyalists out there. Your $800 Orvis or Patagonia waders were likely made in the same factory in China who made a $250 set of waders. When I got sick of Sims quality issues, I bought myself a set of Patagonia Expedition waders. I mean, they got great reviews. They look cool, and it's Patagonia, right? And those went back for repairs in the first year. And after that, it was just one leak after another with those Patagonia waders. My wife got a $200 set of Reddington waders as her lightweight backup waders. And she actually ended up using these most of the time because they were so light and they breathe really well. And, we live in California, so we're not out there in sub-zero temperatures fly fishing most of the time. And These waders right here, these $200 Redington waders, outlasted my Patagonia expeditions. Hell, these cheap Redington waders outlasted my Sims G4s. These $200 Redington waders went 4 years before I patched the first leak in them. Also, don't fall for what influencers tell you to buy. I bought the high and dry waders for duck hunting to replace my Sitka waders that fell apart because a well-known duck hunter on YouTube told me that they were bulletproof. Well, not only did they leak on my first duck hunt, but they had to be sent back. And the replacement that they sent me, well, that set of waders also leaked. Even though I don't believe that waders are built to the same quality standards that we saw maybe 10 years ago, I will admit that most pinhole leaks are probably caused by the user rather than being a factory defect. First of all, never touch waders with hooks or put flies into your wader pockets. Sharp hooks are kryptonite to waders. This means that you have to be very careful when casting or handling your leader. Also, stand on a mat when you get into or remove your waders so you don't get punctures in the bottom of the feet, which is also a common user-induced error. And also, you need to watch where you walk while you're fishing. Thorny plants love to grow along the side of river and stream banks. And I personally believe that most leaks in waders have origins in thorn bushes. Barbed wire fences are also hell on waders, so I avoid going near those if I don't have to. And lastly, clean and properly dry your waders inside and out to remove dirt and body oils. Nick Wax, Tech Wash is the best thing to clean your waders in my experience. Tech Wash will not only restore the breathability of your waders, it'll also revitalize the DWR coating to help prevent leaks. Actual tears or rips in your waders need to be repaired with a patch. I usually glue the tear back together with Aquaseal, and then after it dries, I'll apply a patch over that. But sometimes the tears are so big that a patch might not work, and you'll need a new set of waders. I mean, in the past, I had a run-in with a barbed wire fence that totally trashed a set of waders. Pinhole leaks, on the other hand, are easy to patch with nothing more than a dab of Aquaseal. But finding pinhole leaks can be very difficult sometimes. The best method that I found for locating pinhole leaks in breathable waders is to turn them inside out and use a spray bottle full of rubbing alcohol. When rubbing alcohol contacts a leak in Gore-Tex, it'll turn dark. I don't know if you could see that or not. And after locating the leak with alcohol, you can clean the spot really good and then add some Aquaseal on that spot and let it cure properly. You know, it really is that simple to patch a pinhole leak. And you can see right there, see how that turned dark? That is a pinhole leak right there. And I'm just going to put Aquaseal on that and let it dry. So my wife's pair of Sims G3 guides ended up, there's another one right there, ended up having about 5 pinholes in it. Actually 1 big hole and 4 smaller ones. So let's hope she has dry feet and we can make these last just one more season. There's also a product called Aquaseal+UV that makes wader repairs in the field very fast because you cure it instantly with a UV light. And even if you don't have a UV light handy, sunlight will help it cure out fast. My personal expectations for waders have changed drastically over the last 5 or 10 years. I guess I expect that they'll all develop leaks. If the seams leak or start coming apart, you have to suspect that all the seams on the wader could have quality issues. On the other hand, pinhole leaks and tears aren't usually the end of the world. And I've grown to expect leaks in all modern waders, and I prepare to deal with those during fishing trips. If I travel by plane, I'll take my UV Aquaseal UV light and patches with me on my trips, so I can address leaks if they do happen. And if I'm driving to a destination, I always take a cheap set of backup waders with me in case my primary set of waders starts leaking, and then I can go back to camp or my hotel room after that day of fishing and do a proper repair on my set of primary waders. But if you're driving to a destination, a cheap set of backup waders, I think is actually a great option. Also, many people think their waders are leaking when they're actually just wetting out. Gore-Tex material clogged with dirt and body oils won't breathe properly, and your clothes will just be covered in sweat. So, like I stated in an earlier chapter, you need to periodically clean your waders. So let me reveal to you what I'm currently using. Earlier this year, my last set of Sims waders started leaking badly around the left foot. And in addition to the 10 patched holes that I already had in that set of waders. So I retired my G3, G4, and Patagonia Expedition waders in the last 5 years. As of 2024, Becca and I are trying out the Squala brand waders. I visited their headquarters in Bozeman earlier this year, and I like their company vision and commitment to customer service. But disclaimer here, these waders are likely made in the same Asian factories that where other waders on the market are being made. I'm not sponsored by them, and I paid full price for these waders with no discount, so there's no bias here. Personally, I was attracted to the Squala carbon waders because they're very lightweight, and I love the convertible bib portion, and I use that all the time. Becca wanted a set of zip front waders. She's never had them before. And so she went with the Squala RS wader for the zip front feature on it. And I did fix one pinhole leak already in my carbon wader, so keep that in mind. For duck hunting, I'm currently using a set of Rogers boot foot waders. I don't think I'll ever pay top dollar for a set of waterfowl hunting waders again. So I'm currently using the Rogers waders, and they've held up. The most important chapter of this entire video was the one titled Expectations, because when it comes to breathable waders, you need to lower your expectations. They're all going to leak eventually, and I don't care what the keyboard commandos on Reddit told you about one particular brand of wader over another. We also need to realize that some of these leaks in our waders are actually our fault, and we tend to overestimate the durability of waders. Bushwhacking through a grove of wild rosebush will result in leaking waders. The key is to avoid sharp or pointed things while we're out hunting or fishing, and be prepared to fix leaks when they happen. The real problem presented in this video, though, is whether or not spending $900 for a set of waders really puts you in a better position than a $300 set of waders would. especially since $200-$300 sets of waders gives you a backup set in case your primary set leaks. In the end, this video gave you something to think about, and that was my goal. Ultimately, though, the decision is yours to make, and I hope I provided you with more information than you had a half hour ago.